Shea, followed by Sandra Grant.
Thanks, Julia. Michelle, T. Turning and running. The sun was backing away from me, slowly, like one I half betrayed. So I ran to the river to burn in it, and they blocked the road with ambulances. They gave me surgery on my mouth. My eyes were packed with feathers, and my whole face was painted flat. An expert told me that was probably a joke. There were at least 4 things I should have said. Do not step on the rug with a live bird sewn into it. Mechanical foliage. I felt the rapid turning of the sun in my direction. I never saw this many squirrels at once. A young entrepreneur sold me his business card. He told me this was one of the beautiful days. He offered a presentation on my whereabouts. Half of you awake, the other half was not asleep. He said I would see handsome epiphanies, a vision unifying the particulars, for example. He put his hand up my sleeve and touched my chest. In other words, it was a dream I still remember. I heard sheets of ice clink over the lake. I found the extraordinary moment and recorded it. I washed small trees with my hands, sponging the trunk and leaves. I lived once, supposedly. Thank you.
Next we have Sandra, followed by Becca Sullivan.
Thank you. Loveliest grotesque. I kept the little ruin near me. I stowed it in the kitchen. It sat in the pantry like a jar of reddish jam. It sang me songs of seafaring. It said the weather being fine. I listened to it breathe, shiver brokenly in time. I believed a multitude stood between us, 4 seasons, the meaningless physical world and a grammar primer. You could see how I found it necessary with its immodest appeals, its constant state of déshabillé. It is small for its age, it is too wide awake. Excuse me. So my brain came undone with the years. I stalked myself to the open door of the unlatched gate. Ma Petite is a world sold of charms, it loves a new act. Has a leer for a mouth, has indecorous energy. I ran from the spring plea of it, I radioed ahead. I unplanned a lifetime, turned my gaze to the west. But then it said it would make something of us both. And the sound of it touched me, fat in its cracked sadness. It was homemade all along. It was oddly necessary. I looked back like lots of life, like the exhausted mirage that I was. And the lovely salt taste was loneliness, both awash in the light of knives. And the wind, it was shifting, like this. Thank you.
Sullivan, followed by Danny Snelson.
Hi. I'm going to be reading from a short story called Sereri, which is going to be coming out in Kelly's special issue on Ethiopia in 2010. When disappeared girls are lucky to go to other places and hook their names to their husbands like snake horse polling sacks. Then they send messages back home telling us who they are now. Before today, when I was a child, I thought that this would happen to my sister, Esmera. I thought that she disappeared to New York and became Esmera Mitzlaw, a man's wife, a woman with a face and a life as new as a baby. But Esmera was not lucky. This is what I'm learning now. Before, when I was a child, I did not listen to other people's versions of how things came to be. I made up my own versions of the saint stories, and the story of Deborah Memphis was my favorite. In my version, I see him wrapped in a gabby as wide as a canyon and as white as a new chick's hair. The cloth so thick that you cannot tell if Deborah Memphis is a man or a woman or a baby or an ox. You only know that he is kind because you can feel his smile. In my version, Deborah Memphis is walking through the place where our compound is, only it is more years ago than there are hairs on my head. Deborah Memphis is walking and singing his song when he sees a bird on the ground that is so dry it is going to die. Deborah Memphis is good, and so he cries for the bird. The bird is good too and smart. He feels Deborah Memphis' sadness, and so he opens his mouth to give him soft cannon talk. Then the tears splash into the bird's beak, and the bird is not dry anymore. He drinks from Deborah Memphis and is born and flies away. He is so happy about what he has learned that he tells his family, and they are so happy that they chirp and sing and make a world. I did not think any more of how things came to be until now. Now when my parents are gone and my sister is gone, and the best thing that I have is that Bessalome on top of me. And as Mary's friend Gennett singing a one-string song to the pots outside. Now with Bessalome laid over me, I am thinking of my sister, of the man who dropped on top of her like a dead hawk and pounded her into nothing. I think of this and I try to make sense of what is happening to me now. Thank you.
Danny Snelson, followed by Michelle Taransky.
Hello. Over the last year, I've been using a hard drive publication called Endless Nameless, collected in collaboration with James Hoff, as an instrument or toy to produce a number of writings, readings, and things. 20 kilobytes self-published 1991, Russell Atkins Act, and Russell Juxtapositions.pdf. 20 kilobytes Codex 1995, Stuart Home, Stuart No Rock and Roll.txt. Almost every day, White uses this method to tell his wife of his terrible adventures. It is a sort of diary. 24 kilobytes Viking Press 1978, William Burroughs, William the Cut-Up Method of Brian Geist.txt. 24 kilobytes nettime.org 2002, Mackenzie Wharf, Mackenzie on Empire.txt. By adding, I have eradicated function as I participate in constructing a veritable electro-MERS. Stop in at the drive-through McDonald's on the way to the Airport 1 on the way to 28 kilobytes Kevin Bagels published in 1992, William Gibson Agrippa 1992.rtf. 20 kilobytes August 1998, John Baudrillard John, Disney World Company.txt. Not till 15 years later did she write Introduction to Frankenstein in her own voice. Walpole, on the other hand, gave his book an entirely made-up publishing history, claiming it was a translation from medieval Italian. Only in his preface to the second edition did he admit authorship. 32 kilobytes edition Camera Austria 1996 CAE Critical Art Ensemble Mythos Information.txt. 32 kilobytes Email and Press in 2004 Alice Becker Ho Alice The Language of Those in the Know.txt. Here's a sample, alter the names. Yo-Yo-Dine Incorporated hereby disclaims all corporate copyright interest in the program Nomovision, which makes passes at compilers written by James Hacker. 36 kilobytes public domain 1894 Ambrose Pierce Ambrose the Damned Thing.txt. 36 kilobytes indoors 1999 Atlantica Crandall Jordan Tech Aston Gear.txt. The damned thing, he replied without turning his head. His voice was husky and unnatural. He trembled visibly. 40 kilobytes New York Times Company 1984 Thomas Pynchon Thomas Is It Okay to Be Luddite.txt. 40 kilobytes GB Arts International 1997 Friedrich Kittler Friedrich There Is No Software.txt. When meanings come down to sentences to words, and words to letters, there is no software at all. 44 kilobytes Start Your Own Books 2005 Fetterman Raymond The Voices in the Closet.txt. 48 kilobytes Princeton Architectural Press 1998 Beckman John Merge Invisible Layers.txt. 48 kilobytes, CUNY Center for the Study of Cultural Technology and Work, 1986, DeWanda Manuel, Markets, Anti-Markets, and Network Economies.txt. What remains a problem is only the realization of these layers, which, just as modern media technologies in general, have been explicitly contrived in order to evade all perception. We simply do not know what our writing does. 52 kilobytes, Ultimate Publishing Company, 1980, Bruce Bethke, Cyberpunk, 1980.rtf. 52 kilobytes, Avenue B, 1988, Raymond Roussel, Raymond Among the Blacks.rtf. Everyone had read Among the Blacks. Hence, my response was easily understood when Blancier, pencil in hand, slowly spelled out in his notebook the white letters on the bands of the old bull table. Thank you.